Hi, I'm Phyllis. My website is southernfrugal.com. Today we're going to make a quick homemade banana pudding. It's going to be quicker, but it's still going to be homemade. So what we're going to do is go ahead and cook the pudding. So what I'm going to do is dump in 1/2 cup of sugar, 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour. We're just going to mix that up. And you'll see what I mean when I say this is going to be quicker once we get started. So we're just mixing that sugar around with the flour to kind of get some of the lumps out of both the sugar and the flour. All right, to this we're going to add 2 cups of whole milk. Just going to mix that up. Get that flour dissolved a little bit. Then we're going to add in the egg yolks. This is 3 large egg yolks. We're just going to go ahead and mix those in. Now, this is the way my mother made the pudding for the banana pudding. She just went ahead and mixed it all in together and then just kept stirring it. Alright, so we're going to turn our heat on just a little above medium and just keep mixing it. Because you want those egg yolks all mixed in before the heat gets to it. Anyway, this will make it a little bit quicker than tempering the eggs and that kind of thing. You want to keep mixing it while it's cooking. So the other thing we're going to do, let me see, get these. I'm going to use these instead of vanilla wafers. Now I like these a lot better than vanilla wafers because vanilla wafers always taste like they've got that artificial vanilla flavoring in them. This has got some natural and some artificial flavoring, but it does taste like butter and it tastes like real vanilla. So we're going to use those in the pudding. So we're just going to keep stirring this. Now, of course, there is a version of banana pudding where you use the instant pudding. I don't like that at all. I'd rather have the cooked pudding. And we're also going to use some organic bananas because they're just about to go bad, so we're going to have to use them. Alright, so I'm just going to keep stirring this. We'll just talk a little bit. So we got the storm door up, y'all. The last thing we had to do really was put the handle on it. You would have thought, this will be easy, there'll be no problem here. Well, it was a problem because when I actually am the one that drilled the holes because Mr. Bucky we haven't found that little key that goes to his drill and we haven't bought another one. So I drilled the holes. They gave a little template to use. So we knew the holes that we drilled into the side of the door were exactly right. They matched perfect. But when I was putting the drill bit in the drill, it said to use a 5/16, and I thought, when I was looking at it, I thought, oh, I bet it would be better to use a 3/16 to drill the hole. Well, that's the way it turned out. If we had used the 3/16, everything would have been fine, but we went right by their directions, and so there's a little metal strip. It's about that long and it's flat and it goes in there, so when you push the button to come inside the handle that's on the outside, you push that little button, that little metal thing goes into the little thing on the front of on the inside of the door and pushes it back so you can open the door. Well, how could that be a problem? Well, it was a problem because the holes that we put the outside thing in were 5/16 instead of 3/16, which is really what they should have been. That way, when you push that in, it would have stayed in place instead of moving around. Anyway, so we tried it 3 times. Could not get that little silver colored thing to go in and stay in right while we while we screwed those long screws in, because they had a little connection in there too. So we worked, and after about an hour, I said, I need a break. This is just beyond me. And so Mr. Bucky and I both took a break, and he was holding it and I was holding it, and we just tried all kinds of things. And finally, I was the one that said, I'm not doing this anymore. This thing might have to go without a handle on the outside, or we'll just come up with one that looks right and not even have one on the inside. And so while we were talking, I'm the one that pushed the door closed with the little latches on it, and I locked us out. I did. And we were out there on the back steps trying to figure out how we were going to get back in the house. And finally, Mr. Bucky said, just take a hold of the thing and jerk it open. I've had enough of this. So I did that. And to start with, it just looked like it wasn't going to come. And finally, I jerked it hard enough that it came open. And so when it came open like that, we realized part of the problem was the little thing that the strike plate, I think they call it. So we took off the strike plate, and we finally got the little rod that's supposed to go in there in correctly. And he was holding it with all his might on there, and I was trying to screw the screws in, and we finally got it right. And so anyway, the strike plate did not go on it at all. And what I ended up doing, the little frame that goes around the door, is what it really catches on. And that's no problem, because that's metal too, so it worked. Anyway, all that took about an hour and a half, y'all. 4 tries before we got it. So anyway, the storm door is up now. It looks great. No problem at all. We're still having a big problem with those, we'll just call them Asian stink bugs. They are everywhere outside. And I saw that we've got a couple of mockingbirds out there now, and they're chasing them around. I don't think they're eating them though, because those things really stink. So anyway, all right, so this is getting pretty hot now. Now we want to cook this just until it starts getting a few bubbles around the edge just before it starts boiling. You do not want to boil it, okay? All right, we'll be back when this thickens up. It'll take probably another 2 or 3 minutes. All right, it only actually took about another minute, and this has really gotten thick now. So I'm going to go ahead and cut our burner off. Now our eggs our egg yolks are totally cooked at this point. So I'm just going to keep stirring it a little bit. We're going to go ahead and add 2 tablespoons of butter. And then just keep mixing it up. And of course my burner is off now. Just keep mixing it and let that butter get all melted in there. See how thick it is now? And again, you want to make sure you do not let it boil, because if you let it boil, using whole milk, it's going to curdle. In other words, it'll separate some solids from some liquids if you let it boil. So just keep stirring it. All right, so we're going to add off that burner a little bit. We're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And there go my dogs, barking. We're just going to mix that vanilla in there. Y'all barking? Huh? What are you barking at? The Steelies came in here to drink water. Yeah. All right, so we're going to set this aside and get our bowl ready to make the pudding, and with the little cookies. So again, I'm using butter cookies instead of vanilla wafers. And if you like, of course, you could certainly use vanilla wafers. So we're just going to line this on the bottom and up the sides too. Yeah, I've loved these little cookies since the 1950s. I love them. We're just going to put some around the edge too, up the side. That. Break it. That one in the corner. Okay, we'll save the rest of these for the in-between layer. All right, I'm going to go ahead and slice the bananas, peel them and slice them, and put those in, and we'll be right back. All right, so we used 4 of those bananas. Now, they're not real big, but they are organic. So 4 bananas in there. We're going to dump half of our pudding mixture on top of these. All right, that's about half of it. Just going to spread that out. That. And now I'm going to use another layer of the cookies right on top of the pudding. I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but this is a 2 3/4 quart Pyrex casserole dish. There. Now we're going to go ahead and slice the rest of the bananas. See, these are pretty small. Go ahead and slice those right on top. There's a string. Yeah, I really like these organic bananas much better than regular bananas. These taste like bananas used to in the 1950s. They're not always as pretty as the regular bananas you can get now, but they sure taste better. And they do cost a little bit more, I think. So I did 4 bananas on the bottom layer and then 4 on the next layer. And again, they were smaller bananas. With the way I'm going to fix this, you don't really have to have your oven on to brown the meringue or cook the meringue, really. Alright, so now we're going to dump the rest of this pudding right on top. Get that spoon out of there. Use my spatula this time. And if you have any little lumps in your pudding, don't let that bother you. That won't make a bit of difference in how this tastes. My mother always let me and my sister, have the pot when she got through with the pudding, and she'd always leave a little extra in there for us. Alright, so we're just going to spread this out. Like that. Alright, so what we're going to do is put some fresh whipped cream on top instead of meringue. And I've got my glass in the freezer, getting it cold, so we'll be back when I get it out. Hold on. Alright, so I've got my mug. This is a thing I got at Walmart. It's one of those, I think, big beer mugs or something like that. Anyway, it works perfect for my emulsion mixer. And by the way, y'all are always asking me the brands. This is a Bella right here. And it does come with the mixing thing too, but I'm going to use the emulsion one because I like that really thick, heavy whipping cream. There's what I'm using. It's 16 ounces. So I'm going to pour that in my glass. And by the way, it's very, very cold, and so is my glass. To that, I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of powdered sugar. And it's a lot better than using regular sugar because you don't have to worry about it dissolving in the cold cream. I'm going to go ahead and add a whole teaspoon of vanilla extract. Alright, and so I'm going to go ahead and start this emulsion blender. Make sure it's on there good. I'm just going to go up and down a little bit to get that sugar dissolved, and this will be a little noisy, but we're going to go ahead. Get that sugar dissolved a little bit. Mix it too long. Maybe we will try the other attachment. Yeah, we'll do that. Because a lot of people said, oh, you should have used the other attachment. So let's see how this goes. I've never used this attachment on it before. Let's see. Okay, I think I'm going back to the other attachment, because that's going to come out the top of the glass, I'm afraid. All right, here we go again. It's definitely getting thicker. Just about there. Alright, we are there now. So actually this other attachment works better than that does. Alright. Alright, now all we've got to do is put it on the banana pudding. Yeah, I really like this emulsion blender. It works really, really well. Someone wrote in and said that it looked like I had a commercial model, so I don't know if it's commercial or not. It doesn't say. It just says 2-speed, 250 watt. And it's a Bella. Alright, I'm ready to put this right on the banana pudding. And see, I had one little drop of whipped cream on my counter, but if I was doing it with the mixer, it'd be all over the place. I'd have to put a cloth or something over the mixer to keep it from going everywhere. Spread it out on top. Seal those edges. Yeah, this is a much easier way to make whipped cream, I think. I just don't like all the mess when you make it with the mixer. It just slings all over everything. You have to put a towel over your mixer to keep it from getting all over everything. Alright, there it is. We're going to put this in the refrigerator till after our main meal of the day, which I'm getting ready to fix right now, and I'm going to record it too, so y'all are going to get 2 videos today. Alright. Looking good. Alright, we'll be back and see y'all a little bit later on. Let you see what it looks like. Right there. Looks pretty good. Alright, we will see y'all next time. I'm getting ready to make a recipe from one of the viewers, and y'all can join me while we make that. Alright, see y'all next time. Bye.